princesses! Today I'm going to be talking about the Lime Crime Unicorn lipsticks in the wearable shades. I did not bother purchasing the extravagant colours like the yellow, the blue, green or black because I know I won't wear them and that's just a gigantic waste of money. Before we properly start the review, let's just have a wee chat about Lime Crime as a brand. If you do not wish to support them, feel free to click away from this video now. Obviously, I am going to talk about the lipsticks and review them in a fair way, not focusing on anything that the owner has done. The reality is that I purchased the majority of these shades before all of the Lime Crime scandal came out. I did purchase the rest of the shades so that I could complete the collection and do the review. However, I do not support Lime Crime and I don't really want their products in my life because I just don't think they're that good and the controversy is just really frustrating for me, so I'm going to get rid of the majority of the products that I don't absolutely love from them. This does not mean that I want you to bag on Lime Crime in the comments, and I wish that you would refrain from doing so. On with the review. The product description says, long-lasting, highly pigmented lipstick with gentle sheen in a pale nude hue. Bold, opaque and recklessly loaded with pigment. For lips that speak louder than words. These lipsticks come packaged in extravagant purple packaging with holographic unicorns and stars. The bullet is undecorated and the lipstick is scented with vanilla. The classic nude shades are Coquette and Babette, though I did purchase Eraser in the hopes that it would be a good coloured nude for my skin. Coquette is a beautiful pale nude shade. This is a beautiful shade for my skin tone, but it just has an awful formula. Even with one swipe, I need to blot my lips to get rid of some of the lipstick because it's just so thick and disgusting. Coquette is a really pretty colour on me, but the formula is shocking. It really emphasises any flaws in my lips, any dry bits, any flaky bits or any lines, and it just looks really awful. It is quite a pity that the formula is so awful because it is a colour that I actually quite like. So I would look for a dupe of this colour, but in a formula that is hopefully better for my lips. Babette is a pink nude shade. This shade appears much pinker on the online swatches than it does in real life. I had high hopes for this shade, but it's not really pink on my lips. It also has the same thick formula as Coquette, which I find unpleasant. High hopes for this shade, but I find that it looks a little bit too orange when in fact it is supposed to be a light pink. This also has the same thick texture as Coquette, which I find really awful on my lips. I mean, really, that just looks awful, doesn't it? The online swatches show Babette being very vibrant and pink, whereas I feel like this looks very peachy on me. I don't like this colour enough to look for a dupe for it. Eraser is a peachy nude, the colour of erasers. Eraser is quite matte on my lips, though it does look glossy in the promotion pictures. Again, I hate this formula, it makes my lips appear old and dry. It is definitely a matte shade on my lips. I hate this formula, it makes my lips appear old and dry. I also don't love the colour of this lipstick, it's not something that I would go for normally, so it's not something that I would look for a dupe of. There are two orange shades that I own, Cosmopop and My Beautiful Rocket. Cosmopop is a pale peachy orange. It looks really cute on the swatch, but it's not really the best colour for my skin tone. Cosmopop has the same gross thick formula and it looks really awful on my lips. I can blot some of this colour away, but it does take the majority of the lipstick away as well, which is kind of really frustrating. The lipstick is just so poorly made that it doesn't really want to stay on my lips. Every time I rub my lips together, it will sort of migrate towards the outer line of my lip as well, which is not really that cute. I don't think that this colour is the nicest on my skin tone. I don't think it makes me look very sick or anything like that, but it does sort of bring out the very yellow tones in my skin and in my teeth as well, and it's not really that flattering. My Beautiful Rocket is a beautiful bright orange, very reminiscent of Fanta for me. This shade is a little more up my alley and it has the better formula of the lighter shades so far. It's a lot thinner, it's a lot glossier, but it's still really pigmented. I can still see some of the flaws in my lips, but they're not as dramatic as before. It also feels a lot nicer when you rub your lips together and it doesn't tend to migrate towards the outer edge of my lip either. I actually quite like this colour on my skin, but I don't think I like it quite enough to find an exact dupe for it. There are two purple shades that I own, which is Dolly and Airborne Unicorn. I decided to try the purple shades because I quite like purple toned lip products. Dolly is a cool toned lilac shade. This is the most adventurous shade for me out of the bunch. I've never tried a lilac lipstick before. I'm not 100% sure about how much I like the colour, but I hate the formula for sure. When I rub my lips together, it just rubs the lipstick right off my lips. I hate the formula. I'm not really sure about the colour and I'm not sure if I would pursue it again. I don't think it looks awful. I think it does accentuate the yellow tones in my skin, but I think it's quite a fun lip colour to try anyway. But I 10 out of 10 would not recommend Lilac because it's just awful. You can't keep it on your lips. What's the point in having a lipstick? Airborne Unicorn is a pinky purple lilac. This is also another shade I wouldn't usually purchase, but decided to branch out and try it anyway. This shade isn't awful in terms of texture, but it's not amazing either. This is one of the second-hand lipsticks, so the tube itself looks really awful, but that's what happens when you sterilize and clean lipsticks after you buy them off your friends. Like my beautiful Rocket, this has one of the better formulas. It's a lot glossier, it's a lot easier to rub your lips together, but like Lilac, I find that this one doesn't really want to stick to my inner lip either. It's hard because especially with a colour like purple, it's obviously something that's not natural, so when you rub your lips together and the colour of the lipstick comes off, all you can see is pink lip underneath and it just looks really bad. Plus I'm a serial lip rubber when I wear lipstick anyway, so that really does not help. This is not a shade that I would search for a dupe for, but I am not entirely put off purple lipsticks either. There are 3 shades in the standard pink collection. I'm definitely a pink lipstick girl, so it's no surprise that the pink section of the lipsticks is my favourite. Great Pink Planet is a pale milky pink with lavender tones. This was the second shade I ever purchased and I literally thought that I'd been sent an expired lipstick because the quality was just so poor. I don't love the colour either, which definitely doesn't help. It is not the nicest on my skin tone and it just looks really chalky. The formula is thick, it's hard to apply, it's hard to keep it looking good, and anytime I rub my lips together it's just utterly destroyed. It's a no from me and I won't be looking for a dupe of this one either. It is better off in the trash in my opinion. Geradium is a bright coral pink. Geradium was the first shade I ever purchased and I loved it from the moment I saw it. The formula is wonderful and the colour suits me well. This lipstick is why I kept purchasing more in the hopes that I would get the same great quality. Great pigmentation. I love the colour and the formula is actually really nice. It has a really good wear time on me and I don't notice it making my lips look any worse than they usually are. I like Geradium so much and I hate Great Pink Planet so much. The comparison is just enormous. If you can get Geradium though, I highly recommend it because it is such a beautiful colour, especially on fair skin. Countessa Fluorescent is a bright blue based pink. This is not a shade that I would have gone out and picked for myself if I wasn't completing the collection, though I actually quite like it. With a glossier formula, it is very flattering on my lips, though it is still quite thick in texture, which can be uncomfortable to wear for periods of time. The formula is fine, it's a little bit drier than I would like, so it does tug on my lips, but it doesn't really emphasize any flaws in my lips, so that is a good thing. The only thing I don't like about this shade is that the reapplication is really difficult because it does tend to get quite chunky as it is a drier formula. It does give you a sort of glossy look though, which I really like, and for short periods of times it's really nice. I think that this shade is pretty easily dupeable, so because I like the shade so much, I will go out and find a different formula. The 3 red shades are some of my favourites in terms of formula, since these are a lot glossier and easier to wear than the lighter shades. Centrifuchsia is a bright berry-toned pink. This shade is another one of my favourites, though it is very easily dupeable for any berry-toned pink. However, the formula is head and shoulders above the majority of the shades. It has the thinnest formula, it's slightly glossy without looking like a gloss, and it has great pigmentation. Emphasize any flaws and I really love it. This is another shade that I would consider keeping because I have used it quite a lot and I feel like it's just got a really nice formula. There's no real sense in throwing out something that you really like, so that's kind of just wasting, so I think I will probably keep this. Retro Futurist is a bright blue based red. The formula of the shade is nice, but it's nothing really special. The colour is the same. I feel like it would be easily duped by any blue toned red. Said that, Retro Futurist applies nicely and it wears well. Although it's fair to say that I think I need a good lip liner with this one because I went way above the edges of my lips just then. That's a bit of a shocking application, but oh well. Glamour 101 is a deep brick red. I had high hopes for this shade, but I find that it hasn't got the greatest formula for my lips. It's not awful, but it's not as smooth as the previous 2 red shades. colour looks quite nice on my skin, though it is a little bit too vampy for me. It's not a colour that I would generally gravitate towards since it's more of a sort of brown toned red. But it's not awful at all. The funny story with Glamour 101 is that I purchased it online from an Australian company and they accidentally sent me a steampunk mug instead of the lipstick. So it took them about 2 months to track down the lipstick, which was sent to Israel, get it sent back to them and send it to me. I did get a little bit impatient in the meantime and I purchased a second-hand Glamour 101 off one of my friends, and I thought I would really like it, and I'm kind of sad that I don't like it that much because now I have a brand new one and a second-hand one. But that's just the way things happen, isn't it? These lipsticks have a very wide shade range, and I absolutely adore the formula and colour of Geradium and Centrifuchsia. I do not love the packaging. It kind of reminds me of tampons, and I just don't like the purple and the holographic unicorn. That is my own personal opinion, and it's not meant to be offensive. For the majority of the shades that I own, they have very poor quality, especially the lighter shades. They're quite expensive at $20 each. They have, quite frankly, awful wear time and they are hard to reapply nicely. They are also impossible for me to blot because it removes the majority of the lipstick on my lips. I am so glad they are discontinuing this range of lipsticks because I don't like them. With the exception of Geradium and Centrifuchsia, which I obviously love, and funnily enough they were the first lipsticks that I purchased and I just really liked them, so that's why I continued purchasing more. The colours are beautiful, but to be honest they are easily dupable, and I think that I would find better quality in other products. The majority of the shades are hard to wear without looking like I've got the most awful looking lips in existence, and for the price I would expect them to be a lot nicer. I'm not a hater of lime crime in general, but I really don't like these lipsticks and I wouldn't really recommend them to anybody aside from Geradium and Centrifuchsia, which I really like. It's so weird. If they could just make the other lipsticks with that formula, then they would be really nice, but they don't, and they're not nice. Thank you so much for watching this review, and I'll see you next time.